From the outside, it looks almost restrained: sleek fuselage, polished white paint, minimal markings, parked quietly at the far edge of a private terminal in the early morning light. But step inside America's most luxurious private jet, and you begin to understand that this is not simply transportation, it is a carefully controlled environment designed to make altitude feel irrelevant. The first revelation is acoustic. As the door seals shut, the outside world dissolves into layered insulation, composite structures, and precision engineering that reduce engine vibration to a distant murmur. At cruising altitude, where thin air rushes past the wings at near supersonic speeds, the cabin remains composed, as if insulated not only from sound, but from urgency itself. Light flows softly along the ceiling panels in a warm gradient calibrated to mimic late afternoon, even if the aircraft is crossing time zones at 45,000 feet. Over the last decade, designers have learned that the human body responds to light temperature, humidity, and cabin pressure as much as it does to leather and wood, and here, every detail is tuned accordingly. The cabin altitude is kept lower than commercial standards, subtly reducing fatigue. Air is refreshed frequently, filtered through advanced systems that maintain clarity without the dryness most travelers have come to expect. It is engineering disguised as calm. Walk forward, and the geometry of the space reveals itself. The ceilings sit higher than anticipated, reshaping posture and breathing. Windows are larger, aligned precisely with seated eye lines, allowing the horizon to remain stable as the aircraft banks gently over the Rockies or the Atlantic coastline. Seats are not simply seats. They are sculpted lounges, layered with memory foam, wrapped in hand-stitched leather, designed to distribute weight in a way that feels almost intuitive. Recline is smooth and silent. Tables deploy with the quiet confidence of precision machining. Nothing clicks or rattles. Nothing announces itself. This is what premium feels like when it is engineered rather than decorated. In the galley, service unfolds without spectacle. Fine porcelain rests in recessed compartments to prevent movement during turbulence. Crystal glassware is balanced against the subtle hum of flight. Meals are not reheated trays but carefully timed courses, plated in the air with consideration for texture and aroma, because at altitude, taste shifts and moisture evaporates more quickly. Even the coffee is adjusted for pressure and temperature, a small detail that reveals a larger philosophy: comfort is engineered, not accidental. Beyond the main salon, privacy becomes architecture. A sliding partition reveals a private suite where a full-length divan converts seamlessly into a bed. Sound insulation deepens here, creating a cocoon effect that isolates the passenger from both cockpit activity and engine rhythm. Lighting dims gradually, transitioning from golden ambience to a soft dusk blue designed to encourage natural sleep cycles across continents. In some configurations, a dedicated shower or dressing area adds a ritual of normalcy to transcontinental travel, reinforcing the illusion that you are not crossing thousands of miles in a single night. Meanwhile, at the front of the aircraft, the cockpit represents a different kind of luxury: precision and capability. Advanced avionics manage weather patterns, optimize fuel efficiency, and smooth the ride by adjusting flight paths in real time. Pilots monitor systems that predict turbulence before it is felt, altering altitude by a few hundred feet to preserve the stillness inside the cabin. It is a choreography between machine and atmosphere, mostly invisible to those seated behind the reinforced door. And that is the point. The most luxurious private jet in America does not shout its capabilities, it conceals them. Range allows non-stop connections between financial capitals, coastal estates, and remote retreats without the friction of commercial terminals. Boarding happens steps from the aircraft. Luggage is placed discreetly. Engines ignite with a controlled surge, and within minutes the ground falls away. Yet inside, the sensation remains measured. The aircraft climbs, but the cabin remains steady. Clouds drift past oversized windows, sunlight refracts across polished veneers, and the world below becomes abstract. Time compresses. Meetings happen around a conference table secured seamlessly to the floor structure. Deals are discussed in low tones. Or silence is chosen instead, the kind of silence that feels intentional rather than empty. As descent begins hours later, Lighting adjusts gradually to prepare the body for arrival. Seats return upright with the same fluid precision. Outside, runway lights appear in the distance, but inside, nothing feels rushed. Wheels touch down with a softened thud, reverse thrust engages, and the aircraft rolls calmly toward a waiting car positioned only steps away. From the outside, it still looks simple, a streamlined jet against the skyline, but inside, it has delivered something far more complex, a journey so refined that it barely registers as effort. Luxury, in this realm, is not excess, it is control over variables most travelers never see. It is the art of removing friction from altitude. And when a flight is engineered so precisely that you almost forget you were flying at all, that is when you understand why the best journeys are the ones you barely notice. Subscribe to Comfort Class for more explorations where aviation becomes invisible luxury.